Let us create a simple application. Single view. Notification example. I'll keep it 5. Okay. So I've been given a standard, project with one single view controller, and of course app delegate, storyboard, everything being created for us. This example, I'm not going to require any UI because we are going to talk about something, a background part. So I'm not going to do much here, but a couple of setup I need to do first because my intention is to receive the notification. First, I need to alert the app delegate stating that I'm going to subscribe something or I'm going to receive something. The very first part, if you see that there are various methods, methods are quite meaningful as well. First method, which is there in the app delegate, application did finish launching with options. Mean the user has just clicked the launcher and the application is open. Launcher mean your desktop with the various icons. We should not call it as a desktop. Launch screen. And the moment I click it, the very first method, this is the one is executed. It gives you various entry points for you to detect what is happening as far as your application concerned. Remember, this will be executed only once when the very first time user opened the application. For example, you can get an emulator. Assuming I'm opening this application, I'm sure that this application never opened before. The very first time I'm just opening. In my case, this application would have executed this particular method. And due to some reason, I'm hitting home button. Now, when I can click it, surely this method wouldn't have called because the application has already been opened. It just went into behind the screen again, came back. So those kind of entry points, if you see that did enter background, did enter foreground. So you can get an entry point stating that you'd like to do something. For some time, what will happen? The user may be typing something. You'd like to preserve the data. We can take a backup here. We can decide about various scenarios. So there are various entry points being given as far as the app delegate concerned. It tracks the application lifecycle, how long the application decides to be running in the background. This particular block will be called due to some reason this application is completely closed by iOS. Remember, there is no physical close button, there is no exit button. The application will stay in the background for some time and will always be running as much as possible. Maybe after 2 hours or 3 hours later, the application might have been closed. I'm not really sure about it, but it depends on the individual usage of a phone. Some phone with a lesser memory, maybe the application lifecycle will be quite limited. It could have been closed at any point of time. So, assuming this particular app delegate works in such a way, when a very first time this particular method of app delegate, very first time it is executed over here. And this is the exact right place to launch your navigation controllers on everything. In fact, storyboard does the work. In this block only, the storyboard is loaded and the view controller is being taken forward and it's being, of course, the stack is working accordingly. Okay, fine. So here I need to do a couple of things. First thing, I need to tell launch options object for key. Should be something UI application. Yeah, UI application launch option local notification key. This entry has to be made so that your application is aware of a notifications or anything is going to come up. The very first entry point you have to have this done. Okay. Now, another method has to be implemented which has not been explicitly written over here, but if you notice the app delegate, for example, if you decide to see the document of an app delegate, there should be a lot of methods. In fact, one of a method I am going to implement again. maybe just before. See this, the pragma mark tells this is core data additions. Core data, since the application is going to use core data, there are other options, but app delegate effective lifecycle methods getting over up to here. One of the method also I would like to implement, that is called void something did. So I don't want where it is. Yeah, here it is. You see that there are two methods, did receive local notification, did receive remote notification. I'm going to implement this method. Whenever you receive a local notification, you will get a callback here. So this callback block will be executed whenever you receive a local notification when your application is visible. When gets callback when application is visible. This is a very important point here, because I was telling about the notification, the way it works, only it is displayed only when the application is closed. When application is closed, yes, the user will get a small, for example, here some sort of alert coming on the top for a few seconds, it will disappear. When application is open, the user won't get that one. So whenever an application is open, you can get a callback for a notification in this point. So these two entries you have to do in app delegate. We'll come back to this particular part a little while. I mean, how to handle the notification when application is opened. But at least let us create a simple local notification so that we'll see how the notification could be created. We'll come back to this particular part a little while. Now, let me go back to the view controller. As I said yesterday, starting from iOS 8 onwards, there are a lot of restriction on the privacy related APIs. I have to explicitly get a permission from the user that I'm going to access GPS. Similarly, I need to explicitly tell the user, hey, my application will put on notifications. Without that, starting from iOS 8 onwards, the notification won't be permitted. So, of course, we are already having iOS 9. So, let me first get a couple of setup done. Let me get the instance of my application. That is, usually we have done that for getting user defaults as well, I remember. UI application, shared application. So this is the instance of your application. Otherwise, we can say a context of your application. So a kind of an instance of all of the things. Specifically, it is a context which refers to an app delegate, this particular delegate. First thing, I need to alert the user saying that I am going to put some notification. If application responds to a selector, I have to explain in this part a little why this method I'm accessing responds to a selector, and something called register for p type. Register local. Okay, let me get the method name. It is actually not local. Register user notification settings. Okay. Let me put a box. Remember, this method actually checking in your app delegate whether this particular method is called or not. It is just checking. This particular method will be called, because I have already put an entry over here in app delegate. Hey, you're going to do something with the local notification. This is here already I put an entry. So it will always verify whether that particular application subscribe for a notification or anything else. Also, if you verify that the UI application has a method, I'm just going to show you the classes of UI application. And I am actually searching for a method. I'll have to show you again. Registered user notification setting. Let me find it. We see that there is a kind of an entry about when this particular method will be called. Okay, these are all the comments. Yeah, here it is. This is for, see, this particular function will be called in your app delegate, because you have already mentioned in the app delegate, hey, here there is something to do with the notification my application will access. So the app delegate, this one of a method will be called while the very first time the user is going to launch the application. So I'm just checking in this view controller anytime whether when it accesses the method called register user notification settings. If it is accessing, mean it is going to try alert the user saying that, let's see, we'll put that as well. You have to rightly tell at this point the application the register. I'm going to access the register notification user notification settings. Is going to need a argument UI user notification settings. Okay, settings for a type. Here also you need to tell a couple of things. UI, first thing, my application will put a alert, and pipe delimiter you can say various notification my application will put UI user notification type batch, like in the launcher icon you can put a small red number system, some updates are waiting, it can put a batch, and UI user notification type sound also, of course, we'll also use that sound. What else we have? There are plenty of things. So alert is more than enough to start with that. We see what if I have used. Okay, alert sound, various things we have gone. So I'm just going to alert the user stating that these are all the things it will access. Let me complete this one. Okay, done with that. This one gets over here. Oh, yeah, here this one. UI user notification alert pipe delimiter 1 settings for types. This one. Register user notification, then UI user notification settings for a type whatever it is going to access. Let me remove it. I get. So it's not needed actually. Okay, fine. So UI type sound, and as well as we are going to UI user notification type batch. So these are all the notification my application will put. So this permission is very important so that your application can put a notification. you have to first check whether your application is trying to access the permission related stuff. Once if it is accessing, raise the notification settings and it will raise a kind of alert while first time the application is launched. For example, once I launch this application, you see. Ah, See, the moment I launch my application, I've been given a kind of alert. This example would like to send you notification. It's going to access alert, sound, and badges because those kind of permission I put it over there. So this can be configured in settings as well because anytime the user can change the preferences and of course he can disable them. So I have to explicitly grant the permission. Otherwise, I may not be able to track the notification. So I just given a permission. Okay, but this is only the permission. Now time to launch a local notification. Maybe, okay. I'm just going to create an object called, a property called UI local notification. Just local notification, something. Just initialize it, UI local notification. Okay. Let us define a couple of things. So local notification set there are various things going to be there. Okay, access alert body. What is the message you'd like to display? For time being, say a message. Just I think of something. And next set fire date. When you'd like to display. This is very important because this is where we are going to experiment ourselves with what you call background related thing. So I'm just not going to launch immediately. I'm going to launch after some time. That is called, that I can set it like NS date. Remember NS date, and you can define date with time interval since now. I mean, you can give a at this the moment from this time after 7 or 10 seconds. I mean, what's the number you are giving? It is a seconds. So from this time after 10 seconds, this notification would be fired. So just I'm giving a time frame. It could be any kind of second you can give that many time. It will keep it in the memory and it will launch accordingly. It could be any date, time, whatever you prescribe. So at this example, maybe for 10 seconds because we have to test it how it works. So that we have to put, and this one I'm set time zone. I feel this is very important because the user may travel across a lot. The phone, the user may be traveling in various time zones, so better that also you mention. Otherwise, the notification time may be slightly messed up. I have seen certain instances this thing plays something quite wrong when I don't specify the time zone. Let me specify the time zone. NS time zone, default time zone, whatever default time zone the user associated. Okay, and if you really want to put a set sound, if you'd like to put a different sound, you can use it, but I mean most of the time you'll proceed with the UI local notification default sound name, whatever. I mean the user would have selected in the settings like which tone you'd like to get for whenever the notification comes. So once you define these properties, your notification is ready to be fired. So, and of course, one more thing, set batch number. For example, like put, okay, there is 2 updates waiting. Some numbers you can put in the application launcher. Okay, now finally in your application, the global application, we have already got it. Nothing but an instance of your app delegate or UI application. Just schedule see schedule local notification. Okay. So let's point it. So after 10 seconds, I should expect this notification to arrive. One. Looks fine. I've created an object called UI open notification object. It has a body, time and time zone, sound, everything been set, even the batch. In my assumption, it really works in the phone. It never works in my emulator. But anyway, we'll see how it works first. Let me first freshly launch my application. I really don't know whether it is launched, whether we put some sort of text over here. It's very difficult to identify. One last time I used the reset to suggested constraint. It'll be better. This guy has already put it. Okay, I'll just uninstall. So this is called batch, the number, what you're seeing. I'll just uninstall, freshly launch. Okay. I have to give OK permission. I need to go to home button immediately because within 10 seconds I should expect a notification. We see that this appears. Let us put a small notification on the top. Okay, this is scenario 1 because I closed my application. So when the notification was triggered, my application was closed. I did see the notification bar. But let me launch one more time. Now assume I don't close my application. So after 10 seconds, how I will get a notification? Because the way iOS handle, it never displays the notification when for the same application. It will display the notification for other application. That's a different case. For the same application, it won't put a notification. Even if you wait for 10 seconds or 20 seconds, you won't see a notification coming here. So we have to manually handle that particular task and display in our application wherever possible. So almost good 10 seconds passed. I really don't see any kind of notification appearing here because in this case my application is open. So I need to do some other way to handle that so that I can display the notification on screen of my application itself. Okay. So let me try one more time. I just close my application. Let's see if I get it. Okay, now I get it. So it looks like I have an issue of receiving notification when my application is open, but the notification bar really works when application is closed. So we need to handle that situation. So let us see how we can handle the notification when application is open. That's the reason I had implemented this particular method. Remember where did I kept? Yeah. I implement this particular function for this reason because handle the notification callback when application is visible. Your application or your app delegate will have this particular method called whenever the notification is triggered. This particular method will be called in log. So let me put a ns log, check whether I get it. It's going to run the code. see, I'm not going to close my application this time. Maybe exactly after 10 seconds I should get, if at all, yeah, I got it. You see that after 10 seconds it did call that particular function. This will this will be fine when your application perfectly visible or it is open. So here I need to handle the callback to alert my user. In our previous cases, we usually use UI alert had it been a previous OS version, I could usually use alert view. From the app delegate itself, I can launch an alert, but it is deprecated. Now, UI related information should be launched from view controllers, not app delegate. You mess up with that because app delegate has already loaded one of a navigation controller or UI view controller. So you need to handle that particular alert controller. Right now we have, instead of alert view, we have alert controller. That's this thing we have. So I need to handle alert controller where the user is actually currently seeing. So the point, I need to pass a message to somewhere so that the user can capture it and display the message in this on view controller or put an alert screen, whatever it is. So here I have to pass the message to this view controller. I need to create a subscriber model at this point. Okay, how I can create a subscriber model? First thing, let me get a NS notification center instance, default center, post notification name, any name you can choose, message from local, any name. Make sure it is quite distinct to identify. If you are sending any object, of course I'm going to send the object which is arriving from user notification. You can also send nil if you don't have anything to display, but actually the notification comes with a message that I would like to send it. It means you have to imagine yourself, there is somebody, assuming in a town, if you want to pass the message, you will announce it using a mic or anything like that. So whomever listens, they pick the message. Similarly, the app delegate simply saying, broadcasting a message, hey, I got a notification. Whomever subscribe, pick the message and display wherever it is. Because I'm not sure where the user is seeing, because my application may have one or more than 10 view controllers. The user may be in any of a view controller, wherever it may be. So that message has to be picked up by that view controller in order to be displayed in his application. So I've just created a kind of a subscriber broadcaster model. In this case, the notification center just broadcast a message, in this case notification, with some sort of key associated. It may even say that, channel. You may imagine yourself as every subscriber broadcasting, design pattern usually have a kind of key or what we call channel to dispatch the message. Like in a communication system, while every message travels in exclusive channels. So whomever tuned into that channel receive the message. So I'm just sending this particular message to this particular channel. This is what you need to assume. So this is how the broadcasting model works. Let us create a subscribing model. Now we can subscribe for the same message. I've already have application instance. I need to subscribe for notification. MS notification center, get a default center, add observer, yes, this one, select, okay, this will do. So observer is going to be the same, selector will define some method, I will come back to that. Name, this is the one you need to exactly give the same name what you have given. This is not going to contain any additional objects. So this is a subscribing model, whereas the first one is a broadcasting model. Somebody broadcasts a message using this channel, and this particular view controller is subscribing it. So how I can handle the callback? I am going to need a select and mean a function. Let me put a function. Get message something. Going to need an argument. UI local notification. This particular function this colon mentioned it is having an argument coming in. If you put, if you don't expect any arguments, you may simply give this way. If you don't want any argument to be picked up, but if you are expecting an argument to come, this small colon you can put. Typically, it carries the same payload, whatever it is attached while it was broadcasted. For example, here, so it is going to carry the instance of this notification. So will be handed over here, and you can display wherever you want. So what I'm going to do, this notification center will receive certain message when application is open. When application is closed, this notification center won't receive anything because the notification will be directly displayed because the application is no more visible. So I'm going to use some sort of UI alert control. Maybe we have a UI alert controller, which we already know. Alert controller with the title. Something message. This is the message I would like to display. Okay, that I'll put a little later. Style UI alert, style alert. Let us first finish that. So UI alert action also will put. To dismiss it, alert action. Action with the title. Okay. Alert action style default. Handler, I don't want a handler to handle these things, just let me finish now. Add action. Okay, button. Now we have an action added to alert controller. Self present view controller alert. Yes. Okay. We'll display that alert when application is open because it is going to be broadcasted through app delegate. So this view controller will pick it up. So in this case, and also I need to display the payload. First point, it is always recommended notification is not null. UI local notification. Actually, this instance should be, it's not a UI notification. Let me see what kind of instance. This is local notification and object being sent. Okay, fine. And, okay, I think this is actually sending notification object, so I need to modify it slightly a bit. It is not actually this notification. This object is of type NS notification because it is actually coming through a broadcaster. So I need to check the incoming object is kind of class UI use, oh, sorry, local notification. I have to verify the incoming object is of type UI local notification because there will be a generic object. I'm not sure because I can sometimes I will send a string, sometimes I will send a number, sometimes I'll send my own property, whatever property. So I need to verify the incoming payload is actually a type of UI local notification. But I'm sure because I'm sending the incoming object as a UI local notification, I'm attaching it. But while it is received, it may not be knowing what kind of object type it is. It is always verified or it be recommended to be verified at this point. So let us build the UI local notification object one more time. Notification, so for typecasting. Okay, we got it. Mention anything? Unused, okay. What is the other error? I think this is not needed. Instead, this will do it. Okay, now we have got it. Let me put it inside and display it here. Let us pick the message from here. I have a local notification object. Alert body, this is the one I'm going to display. So the alert body is nothing but what I have actually sending here, this one. So this would be routed through app delegate, will finally launch into the same view controller itself. So let me see how it works. So I'm not going to close my application. Instead, 10 seconds. Yeah, we got it. So at this point, since the notification cannot be displayed as a batch, I'm handling the same task in my application itself. Because after 10 seconds, I'm creating my own view. It could be in a label also you can display, not necessary to be displayed in alert. It could be any object, view object, you can map it, you can display in your application locally. So you are getting this alert because this local notification will be triggered after 10 seconds, and when application is open, it will make a callback in your app delegate. In this method, did receive local notification. When this particular function receive a notification, a kind of object payload through an argument, I'm using the notification center to broadcast a message to this particular key or channel. I just broadcast attach that. Whomever subscribed can pick the message. In this case, this view controller has already subscribed. So anytime it receives a message, it will notify through this particular function. It receives the payload and display it in an alert. So you are getting this one when application is open. But whereas if application is closed, let me close the application. So I won't be getting the alert controller. Instead, I will be getting a batch on the top, kind of a notification on the top. So after 10 seconds, I should be getting. If you see the log is not executed, because the application is closed, it receives small notification. So this is a kind of a trivial scenario. In fact, all the three are different concepts, but I try to put it into one single example because we are creating a local notification 1. So first part, we have to check whether the permission is being explicitly given by the user. So the very first part, I'm checking, get the user permission to put a notification in your application. So the user accepts it, and then you can go ahead and create a local notification. And you define the body and the batch and when the notification is going to be launched, everything you mentioned, and you fire the notification and through the application instance. So the application will launch the local notification in a designated time, whatever you mentioned. Could be any time, could be even a month also. So this application will have a registration. It's not going to be registered with your application alone. The process will have it a kind of entry added to that. So after some time, the notification would be launched. But when the notification is launched, the phone is not sure, or the OS is not sure about whether on that particular time your application is opened or closed. If your application is closed, it will put a notification in this way on the top here. Otherwise, if your application is open, it is your duty to pick the message and display in an appropriate view controller. So we have in app delegate, there is a function called application did receive local notification. It receives the message here, at this point through this argument. I am creating a broadcasting subscribing model over here using NS Notification Center. I broadcast the message I received from the local notification along with the key added or channel name added. So I post this message. Whomever has subscribed can pick the message. If you notice, this view controller has subscribed to the same channel. So when it receives the message, it gets a particular method called or selector called, and you can handle the task however way you want. So this notification center is a separate topic in fact. But you can use this notification. I have seen this notification center is used for various reasons. I remember some developer even using the notification center whenever keyboard is hidden, whenever user close the application, whenever user press the back button. They use a notification center to detect what the user is doing. So to send the message wherever they want. Typically, I could have the notification center, for example, in the same example, I am creating one more view controller. In that view controller, the user is typing something. He is entering some data. Suddenly, he decides to cancel it. So what he'll do, he'll hit the back button. But according to the standard, we will end up losing the data because the view controller, he hit the back button. Without saving that, we will lose the data. So some developer, what they will do, whenever the user click on back button, they will create a broadcasting model. They will broadcast a message. It will come to app delegate or anywhere, wherever, and when that particular function is called, they will take a backup. They will save the data and retrieve whenever needed. So the notification center or this particular notification propagation or subscriber broadcasting model could be put anywhere. In this case, app delegate is doing a broadcasting and view controller is actually receiving. It could be vice versa as well. The view controller can broadcast, the app delegate can pick it up. Or a view controller can broadcast message, another view controller can pick it up. Or that broadcast receiving between various view controllers. Could be any way. So this kind of broadcasting receiving model helps us without even worrying about instance of the various view controller. I can asynchronously pass and receive messages between them. So this is a different concept though, but I mixed with local notification, so I put into use because local notification also gives me an asynchronous message and I am passing it using a notification center to display whenever application is closed. So this is how it works. My understanding that remember another mistake the developer does. Now he will click on the application and wait for 10 seconds. You won't get any notification because what really has happened, the very first time when you open your application, this block would have been executed. You did load. So when I open, every time you won't get in 10 seconds or some other, because the application has already been launched. It is possible only when the application is completely closed and freshly launched. Because the emulator, what would have done, it would have closed the previous instance and freshly would have launched it. This time you may get it. So not to get confused with that life cycle, how iOS is handling. So iOS has only one hardware keyboard, sorry, hardware keyboard, that is called home button. The home button does not close your application. It just put the application in the behind the screen or maybe in the background. So every time you click, don't expect it will call view did load, or don't expect this is going to call this particular, what do you call, did finish launching with options. This will be called only when the very first time the application is launched. So this concept actually is similar to what Android or Windows handle the life cycle of their application, and in fact, it is quite common. In fact, it's an idea how uh, Symbian handle the application life cycle. I think these guys are impressed with that, so they use the same similar way. So App Delegate is actually gives us a various entry point with respect to the application lifecycle, and it is very important to understand how iOS maintain the application lifecycle. When the very first time application is launched, it is first launched and it is trying to retain it in the behind the screen when you hit the home button. It can be closed by, maybe if I could show you, I don't have it. Let me see if I have that option. Home, shape device. When you double tap your home button, you will get an option to close your application. Let me try to identify is there any way I can get that. Probably I can show it from my device. Okay, let me connect the phone. Okay, let me. Keep calling it. For example, this is a real phone. When I am going to double tap my home button, see, this is the way I can close my applications. Sorry, I just swipe up, the application totally closed, and come back. So you have to double tap your home button to close your application. This is slightly kind of a tricky way how Apple has kept it. But typically launching from home button, for example, launch a screen, let me launch this application. Where's my phone? Okay. So now it is asking permission. I have granted the permission. Now I'm going to close it. I should get, yeah, got a notification. Okay. Now I'm going to close my application. I just closed it. You see that it is even crashing because I completely closed my application. Now I'm going to launch it freshly. Okay, let me launch it again. Now I've got it. Should get that alert dialog. Yeah, we got it. So closing an application in iOS, it's slightly tricky way. Just hitting once in home button does not close your application. You have to double tap your home button and then you can simply swipe up to close the application. So that's a close thing happens permanently. Otherwise, the application will be running behind the screen. So this is how Apple maintains a application. Sorry, iOS maintains the application lifecycle. Anyway, so we have covered local notification as well as notification center, the way we could handle the asynchronous messages between the view controllers or app delegate or between various views. So you may be using it in various scenarios depending on your application requirement. For example, to alert the user in various situations. So I want you to maybe remote notification. I'll try to set up using my developer account. I'll create a remote notification for you to how the remote notification can be put. But it's an experimental basis because you cannot test you don't have a developer account. But I'll try to show that similar example maybe tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow I'd like to show another off topic which is Google Map. That also I'd like to see. So that we will continue. But at this point, you can write this example to test